What's up, guys? It's been a minute. I haven't done one of these in a long time. I'm still kind of figuring some technical difficulties out. I'm actually currently on my tablet, which we're gonna see how this is gonna go. So catch some little catch up music here. I'm gonna get right into it. We got a lot going on. Obviously, we got the tournament that just started up. And there's a lot of exciting things going on in the sports world. And like I said, it's been a minute. I haven't even talked since probably the beginning of football season. So I apologize for that. I am trying to get better. Like I said, I am having some little technical problems. So here we are listening to me ramble. So let's not do that. I'm gonna hop right into the basketball tournament. Okay, obviously it's the most exciting time of March. It's such a great atmosphere for all the games. You had all the championship games for the conferences, and it's just an amazing time for college sports, especially. So, one thing that people need to consider when they are filling out their brackets on this is remember, experience is going to play a lot of key moments into this tournament. Okay. We've noticed in the last few years that there have been quite a few upsets. There's been more Cinderellas, but they're the teams that are stay together. They're not entering the portal. They're not one and done going to the draft. So there's going to be some of those coming up. Um, I kind of picked my bracket to see that way. I feel the more experienced teams are going to show and they will be about. So, before we get into the bracket, though, I did have some interesting kind of thing that happened. So the Nebraska Cornhuskers let their athletic director go to Texas A&M last week, and with that, now in the men and the women's tournament, both A&M and Nebraska are playing, which I think is just great. I think is very coincidental, not really. So I think that's going to lead to probably some I don't know, very entertaining performances. Another fun fact before we get into the tournament itself, Nebraska has never won a tournament game in the men's side. They are the only Power Five conference or Power Five team to not win a single tournament game. So I just kind of broken down my picks. Feel free to go along with your own. Obviously, this is just my opinion. I highly do think there's going to be quite a few upsets, and I've gone back and forth on a few of these picks where I'm just like, man, this team should win. They're the higher seed. They played better conferences. But then I go back to what I said in the beginning. And in the beginning, I said experience is going to win. So you're going to see where the athleticism comes in this tournament. You're going to see where the experience comes in. I've also got, I'm going to break down the women's bracket a little bit. I didn't have time to fully write it out, but I will break it down as well. And then we'll get a little bit into the softball and the baseball going on. We got some spring training going on. And we've also got NBA heating up for the playoff race. So this should be a good show. I'm going to pretty much get to the point because it's going to be long, especially talking about the men's bracket. So, starting out on the east side, you have the Yukon Huskies as the number one overall seed. There is, I I don't want to be that guy, but it is so hard to be a repeat champion. And for UConn, they've got a really tough path, even though they are the number one overall seed. Um, I do think they get past the Stetson Bison. I think that I don't see a 16 seed beating a 1 seed this year. It can happen. It very well possibly could happen, but I just don't see it this year. Okay. I think UConn is a very athletic team. I think they are a very good, solid team. But I also think that there is a chance that UConn in the round of 32 is on upset. which is actually who they would play next. So I took UConn in the first game. The Florida Atlantic, the 8-9 matchup, Florida Atlantic Northwestern matchup. It's a good game. Florida Atlantic made a Final Four run last year. I'm going to stick with them, picking them to probably win probably by 10. I think it will be a good game, but Northwestern coming out of the Big Ten, they don't really play kind of what you'd expect from Florida Atlantic. And Florida Atlantic is a very experienced team, so give me the Owls there. In the 5-12 matchup. So the 5-12 matchup is one of those that, I mean, if there was an upset, the 5-12 and the 4-13 are the most guaranteed there's going to be an upset, okay? This one was tough for me. I had to actually go through and actually kind of look at the records and resumes and see what I thought. The records are very similar. They played very similar opponents. So this is San Diego State and UAB. I am taking San Diego State. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means. I think it's going to be a close game. But the Aztecs have shown they can play in the tournament, and UAB has not, so I will take the Aztecs over the Blazers. So keep going on down. We've got Auburn and Yale. I've gone back and forth on this one. I'm going to pick Auburn because they should win, okay? Yale is one of those experienced teams, and they're very fast and very athletic, and they get up and down the court. They kind of, weren't even supposed to win the Ivy League, and they did. They beat they beat out Brown, who beat out Princeton, and Princeton was a favorite. I am taking Auburn. I think this will be a very good game. Take that for what you want, because Auburn, Bruce Pearl's got those guys going up and down the court like crazy. They are fast, they are furious, but they didn't win their conference championship. So that one was a very tough get for me. Okay, the 3-14 seed, I really don't see too many upsets on that one. We got Illinois and Morehead State. I think the Fighting Illini are going to go run all over Morehead State. They are fast. They are furious. And, they're big. They're athletic. They're strong. I just don't see Morehead State having any chance to keep up with them. So keep going on down here. We got Washington State and Drake. If you want to call it this is my first technical upset. I do have Drake winning this. The 7-10 is kind of one of those matchups. It's just who can play the better ball, right? So I'm taking Drake. I know Washington State played tougher competition, but Drake is a more complete team. They have more experience, and they've been in the tournament, recently. So 2-15. So obviously I am going to take Iowa State. I am very much in favor of this Iowa State team. They are very good defensively, and I will stand by defense wins championships. They're a very boring team as far as offense. They don't really create a whole lot of shots or space or anything, but they are a very, very, very sound, fundamental defensive team, and we might be talking about them later on. So definitely taking Iowa State there. Keep on going here. We're going to go in the West region where North Carolina was the 1 seed. Yet again, I do not see a 1 seed getting beat this year. It has happened. I just don't see it. I think these 1 seeds are going to give people problems. I really do. I do think they can be upset, very much so. So they'll play the winner of Howard or Wagner, one of the play-in games. I don't know enough about Howard or Wagner to really pick that one. But I like the Tar Heels. RJ Davis is a baller. They are very big, athletic. They play defense. They block shots. They get on the break. I've watched this North Carolina team. They are very, very good. So, I'm definitely taking North Carolina. And so here's one that I could kind of say was kind of a game. Maybe it shouldn't have happened. Maybe it should have. It is what it is. The 8-9 matchup. I don't understand how Michigan State made it to a 9. I get Tom Izzo. I do. He's one of the legendary coaches of the game. But coming from, me being an OU fan, I do feel like Michigan State got some extra treatment. But I will come back to that OU statement later. I am taking Mississippi State in this one, so I'm taking the 8 seed. No upset or anything. I think Mississippi State, I watched them play. They are fast. Michigan State is not so athletic this year. And this is one of Tom Izzo's not one of his better groups. So I would definitely take Mississippi State. Here is another one of those 5-12 matchups that I hate the 5-12 matchup because the 12 is almost guaranteedly going to win. And I'm telling you right now, I didn't pick a single 12 seed, and I'm kind of mad at myself. But I do think that St. Mary's plays a tougher conference. They had to go through Gonzaga. Grand Canyon does not play anybody worth note. The records kind of state for themselves. St. Mary's went 26-7, Grand Canyon 29-4. I took St. Mary's. It could be possible upset, and it wouldn't surprise me if it is, okay? The 4-13 matchup. Same possible deal. It could be an upset. I don't think it will be. I am taking Bama over Charleston, but it very well could be one of those upsets. And those Cinderellas are sneaking around. So let's keep going because we got a lot to go through because this is a big tournament, obviously. So 6-11 matchup. Here is another one of my picks for an upset. I picked New Mexico over Clemson, the 11 over 6. New Mexico has played really sound all year. They play defense. They are a very experienced team. Clemson hasn't been in the tournament as of recent, so I'm taking the Lobos, but I think it will be a pretty close game. Baylor Colgate, 3 versus 14. Yeah, I don't think Colgate's going to have enough. Baylor's very athletic. They have the experience. Scott Drew is one of the best coaches, especially around this time. I will take Baylor. Okay, here we go. Another 7-10 matchup and another one that I couldn't tell you. I just coin toss on this one. I'm taking Dayton because I've watched Dayton. They were ranked at one point, but similar records, similar conferences, similar foes. This is going to be a good game. Dayton, Nevada. I'm taking the Flyers, but I think it's going to be a close game. And then here we go. A 2-15 matchup that very well could end in an upset. Did I pick it? Absolutely not. Should I have? Possibly. But that's to be determined. This is Zona versus Long Beach. Zona, they fall off every year. They are not a very sound team. They choked in the Pac-12 championship or in the semis. I am taking Zona, but I would not be shocked if they go to upset alert. Okay? All right. So carrying on, we got 2 more sides of the bracket here. Houston Longwood, yet again, I'm not picking a 16 seed to beat a 1 seed. It could happen. I just don't see it. These 1 seeds are very, very good, and they've been at the top all year long. So this 8-9 matchup really cracks me up. I did mention earlier how Nebraska and A&M are playing each other in the women's and the men's. Well, last week, Nebraska let A&M hire their athletic director. So that's kind of something could go wrong here. Very similar styles. Nebraska is very fundamentally together. A&M is more of a we're going to get up and down the floor and see who can shoot all the threes, basically. I am taking Nebraska for their first ever tourney win. I think this will be a good game. I really do. But I think the Huskers have something to prove. And just for them to sneak into the tournament was really good. So, all right. So, keep going on. We got another 5-12, which very well could end up in an upset. Guess what? James Madison went 31-3 this year. 31-3. That's a really good record. I don't care who you play. You still have to play the talent in front of you, okay? Wisconsin always fails me every single year in the tournament. I am taking the Badgers, but I will not be shocked, not even a little bit, if the Badgers disappoint me for yet again. Okay? So, speaking of disappointment, for you Duke fans out there, I got bad news for you. I don't see them going very far in this tournament. In fact, on my bracket, they're not even making it past the first round. They are going to lose to Vermont. That is, I am calling it right now. You want me to put my Cinderella on the line, my upset pick? I am calling Vermont beats Duke in the first round this year right now. Why? Because Duke always does that. Duke fails every single year. They are the biggest choke artists in the history of the tournament. Close to Kansas and Arizona. So that will be the 4-13. We got the 6-11 matchup. Okay. Here is an amazing story versus a team that's been there before. Tech has been consistently in the tournament. They've been consistently about the Sweet 16 range. They're a good team. Here's the deal. NC State was hurt all year long. And what they did in the ACC tournament was no fluke. Okay, guys? They got healthy. They got hot at the right time. They won 5 games in 5 days. 5 games. Dude, I can't even play basketball for 2 hours without being like cramping and hurting and I'm getting older, obviously. But 5 games in 5 days. And they won every single one. This NC State team, they have something to prove. And I think they should be higher than 11 seed. But yet again, their record is a little rough. And they only got in because they won the tournament. An ACC championship. But you know what? Getting hot at the right time is how this March Madness starts, right? So give me the Wolfpack over the Red Raiders in another upset. Okay, so speaking of Kentucky, Oakland, 3-14. I actually had Oakland at first just because Kentucky, I don't trust them. I don't think they are very good this year. I mean, they were ranked all year, but every single big game, they decided they wanted to choke. So I do not like the Wildcats to go, but I will have them winning this first round, okay? So I'm taking Kentucky over Oakland. All right, so Florida and Boise, or Florida and Colorado. Boise and Colorado got to play each other for the 10. Okay. Good story for Boise. They had a great season. They made it to the tournament, made it to the play-in game. Colorado, I mean, they made it to the Pac-12 championship game. I am taking Florida. I think they are physically better, and they played in a much tougher conference in the SEC, as the SEC was really solid this year. So I will definitely take Florida. All right. So, then the 2-15, I'm taking Marquette over Western Kentucky. I'm not really going to go into detail on that one. Marquette's another one of those teams that are bound to upset or get upset. So I wouldn't pick them very far, but I just don't see them losing this year. Oh boy. So, going down to the Midwest, the final one of the first round. Okay. Yeah. Let me just say this. Purdue, you poor souls. You got beat by a 16 seed last year. And the last time that happened, Virginia ended up winning the championship the next year. So, take that for what you want. Purdue is also one of those teams that doesn't ever make it very far. They're playing Montana State, Grambling. I'll take them to beat them. Like I said, I don't see a 16 seed winning this year. 8-9 matchup. So, we got Utah State and TCU. Both very similar teams. Not so similar records. TCU kind of snuck in on the end of the Big 12. And Utah State just kind of walked through their conference. I I do have Utah State winning this. I think this will be a close game. TCU is very sound at its shooting. Utah State plays defense. We already know where I'm going with that. Defense wins, right? So I'm taking Utah State. Good game, though. Okay. I have already told you guys about the 5-12 matchup. What do I say about it? I hate the 5-12 matchup. And what kills me is I didn't pick a single 12 to win. But every single one of these 12s can win, okay? It drives me nuts, but every one of them, every single one of them can win. But I have Gonzaga beating McNeese State. I think the Zags will beat the Cowboys, but I think it's a very close game. And I think Mark Few has the experience in the tourney, and that's the only reason they win. Otherwise, I would probably be going McNeese right now. And I've also told you about how much I hate the 4-13 matchup. It is a joke. It shouldn't ever be this bad. But you know what? This one was tough for me. At first, I picked Stanford to beat Kansas. But then I looked, and they are actually getting a little bit healthier. They will have Dickinson back. Kansas loves to fail me. They really do. Kansas loves to fail me. So I am taking Kansas, but this is like me hoping just for my bracket's sake. I don't know if they will win. I will just throw that out there. Especially the way they ended the season. It was pretty bad. All right. A few more here for the round of 64. We're almost to the round of 32. So starting the 6-11, we got South Carolina, Oregon. I'm taking Oregon. Oregon's got the experience. South Carolina doesn't. Oregon's got something to prove. South Carolina really, okay, they made the tournament. Great. 3-14 on this one. Creighton, Akron. Akron got lucky they were in the tournament. The, what is it? The MAC championship, where a guy literally fouled and put Akron on the line when the other team had the lead. Yeah. Akron shouldn't even be here right now. So I will take Creighton. I don't think that one's much of a problem. Them boys up in Omaha are actually playing really solid basketball and could make a serious run. Texas versus Virginia or Colorado State. Virginia snuck in. They were one of those last few teams to get into the tournament. Colorado State, same thing. Not really a great team, but they snuck in. Texas will beat them athletically. Texas is way too strong athletically. So, Tennessee, St. Peter's. Well, last time St. Peter's made it to the tourney, they made some noise. Not this time. Tennessee, Rick Barnes got them playing really well. Tennessee will take that one. All right. So, now we are getting into the round of 32. And let's see here. I'm pulling it up. I've got my winners, but I want to pull it up so you guys can actually understand where I'm coming from. So, hang on just a second here. I should have been more prepared. I apologize. So, while we're thinking about it, I did have plenty of upsets in there, right? I did have a lot of, very close games, very much maybes, very much, good luck. There's going to be some Cinderellas. So, come on, load up. Trying to load up my bracket so I can actually see the matchup. Okay, here we go. My brackets, come on. All right, Round of 32. So in the East, we have UConn and Florida Atlantic. Well, UConn, like I said, it's very, very tough to go back to back. Very tough. Very, very, very tough. Okay. Florida Atlantic made the Final Four last year and very easily could have won. So, UConn's athletic. Florida Atlantic might be out for some vengeance. I am taking the Owls in the first 1 seed that I have going down. And then the 4-5 matchup would be Auburn and San Diego State. I am taking Auburn. I think it'll be a close game. I think it'll be a good game, but I am taking Auburn. The 3-6 matchup, I'm taking Illinois. I think they will run over BYU. They are faster and stronger. BYU is a mature team, but I think they are faster and stronger. Okay. And then I had the 2 and 10 matchups, which was Iowa State versus Drake. The same thing. I just took Illinois. I'm taking Iowa State. They're stronger. They're faster. They're defensively sound. Like you will not beat them because of their defense. So I will take Iowa State. Going to the West, I got North Carolina over Mississippi State. I think Mississippi State is a solid story, but I think North Carolina is too much, too athletic, and too big. A 4-5 in that one, I've got Bama over St. Mary's. St. Mary's played a pretty tough schedule. Bama played a tougher schedule. So I'm going to go quickly through these just so you guys kind of get the point. I did have the 11-3 matchup, which was New Mexico versus Baylor. And I am taking Baylor. I think Baylor is stronger. This one was a tough one for me. I had a 7-2 matchup. I had Dayton versus Arizona. I would like to take Dayton, but I am taking Arizona. And then poor Nebraska, their run is going to end in the next round. They got to play Houston in the South. I took Houston. This was a hard one for me. Okay, I already said Wisconsin's one of those teams that always throws me under the bus. I had Wisconsin and Vermont, okay? So I've got Vermont beating Duke. I've got Wisconsin winning. I've got Wisconsin beating Vermont. I think the story continues for Wisconsin, for the Badgers. And then I've got an interesting upset here. So still in the South, we got NC State, the 11 seed in Kentucky. I am taking NC State. Like I said, this story is going to continue. They got healthy at the right time. They are playing the right kind of basketball. They are playing together, and they are playing to win. Give me NC State over Kentucky. Same deal here. I've got the Florida Gators over Marquette. Marquette's one of those teams that I just don't trust. They go to the tournament every year, but they don't do anything in the tournament. So, all right. Here's where things got hard for me. I don't like Purdue. I think they were overrated. I don't think they are good. I don't think Zach Edey is that great of a player. Why? Because all he does is stand still in the paint. He doesn't move. He doesn't even try to shoot a jump shot. He literally just stands still. It's like watching paint dry with him. So, I am taking Utah State. Give me the Aggies over the Purdue Boilermakers. And now I've got 2 number ones going down in the same round. And then the 5-4 matchup, I've got Gonzaga over Kansas. Kansas hasn't proven to me that they belong. It was tough for me to even pick Kansas to beat Stanford. So that was it. As simple as that. And then I got Oregon over Creighton, the 11 seed over the 3 seed. Sorry, Blue Jays, but I think Oregon will be out for vengeance a little bit. And then I think Tennessee is too athletic for Texas, so that'll put that as the 2-11 matchup. Going to the Sweet 16, okay? Like I said, I'm going to go through these a little quick here. This is where things got really interesting for me. I had Florida Atlantic over Auburn, Iowa State over Illinois, North Carolina over Bama, Baylor over Zona, Houston over Wisconsin, NC State over Florida, Gonzaga over Utah State, and Tennessee over Oregon. And then my Elite Eight was Iowa State over Florida Atlantic, North Carolina over Baylor, Houston over NC State, and then Tennessee over Gonzaga. And here's my official Final Four. I'm sticking with it. Probably won't last. Guarantee you one of these teams gets upset in the first round. That always happens to me every single year. But I am taking Iowa State, North Carolina, Houston, and Tennessee, with North Carolina and Tennessee going to the championship and North Carolina coming on top. My national champion for this year is North Carolina. I think the Tar Heels have something special. They are very strong, very athletic, and I do believe they will be cutting down the nets at the end of the season. Okay. We went through that a little quickly there at the end because that first round just takes so long. There's so many matchups that you have to actually talk about. And yet again, there could be so many Cinderellas that come out of it. I do want to bring up the women. Starting off with the Texas A&M and Nebraska matchup. It's actually a 6-11 on the women's side. I am going to take Nebraska, and I'm going to take them to actually go pretty far in this tournament. I've watched a couple of their games. They beat Iowa. They beat Caitlin Clark. They held their own in the Big Ten, which is a pretty tough conference. So I will be saying watch out for the Huskers on the women's side, okay? I'm not saying they will make a huge run, but watch out for the Huskers. And like I said, I didn't do a bracket for the women's side. I try to just kind of pick what I've seen, and that would be about it. So, I was happy that my Lady Sooners did make it. They made it as a 5 seed. Dreaded 5 seed, Anything could happen there, but I was happy they made it. South Carolina trying to go back to back in an undefeated season. I don't know, man. They are better on their side, but I don't know. They're going to have some tough challenges, that's for sure. How do I think Caitlin Clark will do? Caitlin Clark will be fine. They'll probably end up in about the Sweet 16 before they get knocked off. I'm kind of looking at their bracket. Yeah, Sweet 16 or... Oh, convenient that LSU is in their side. That's funny. Team to look out for. I'm just kind of looking over this right now. I'm going to say a team to look out for the women would still be those Huskers. I think the Huskers will be the team that makes a run. I think everybody else is kind of set, but I think the Huskers are the team to look out for. I don't see a whole lot of upset, as far as overall upsets. It could happen, but women is more straightforward than it is with the men. Okay, so that was just a little bit breakdown. Like I said, I don't have a bracket for the women. I didn't set one up. I could have, but it's easier just to do the men's and call it good. I do want to get into some college baseball and college softball. Actually, softball first, okay? One, you guys all know I love softball. I love women's softball. It is such a great game. They love the sport. They are amazing. It's just, you can literally turn on any game and it's still for the love of the game. And it's just absolutely awesome, okay? And yes, I am an OU fan. They are 3-time defending champions and going for a 4th, and they're number 1 in the country, and they've only lost 1 game. But I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the greatness of Patty Yasso. Not very many people can say they've won 400 conference games ever, and she has. The last season of the Big 12, she's made it to 400 conference wins. She continues, I feel like she schedules a loss just to kind of prove a point. So there is growing room. There's always something to grow from. There's always something to learn. There's always something that needs to be improved. And she's still got him at number 1. There are no undefeated teams left, as LSU lost the other day. Top 10, I mean, it's pretty sound. I mean, honestly, the top, 25 is a great 25. I mean, you got OU, LSU, Texas, Duke, Georgia, Stanford, OSU, Washington, Tennessee, Florida. I mean, that's your top 10. And I could go on, but some of these games are getting closer and closer. OU lost to Louisiana. LSU just lost to Ole Miss. I mean, these are really solid, sound teams. And the road to OKC is getting better all the time. It's so much fun to watch. That's all I'm going to say. Just continue to love this game. I love softball. It's so much fun. The other thing is baseball. College baseball has been really good so far this year, especially in the state of Oklahoma. I mean, Oklahoma State's kind of fallen off a little bit, but Oklahoma is doing really well. Starting off the conference play with 6-0. You know, you got Arkansas and Oregon State and Vandy. All teams are always at the top, but this is one of those years when you name it, everybody could be playing for Omaha. Like everybody could be playing for Omaha. So this is going to be a fun college baseball season. Time to get into it. Speaking of baseball, spring training is through here. It's going on. Major League Baseball starting up. It's getting kind of exciting again. The pitch count has actually helped. It's sped up the game. It keeps the players into it. You know, you're not sitting here 5 minutes waiting per pitch. It's like it's actually go time. So baseball is turned a corner, and I think it's getting better. I really do. Okay. So I got a few more things I could talk about. We did have the Players' Championship in golf. Scotty Scheffler, man, that dude just destroyed this course. And he's looking the part as the number one player. I know he's not right now, but his drives are great. He's seeing the field well. He's getting to a position where he doesn't have to rely on his putting, and that's his downfall is his putting. And so, watch out for Scotty Scheffler. It's about this time of year that I normally make an Augusta pick for the Masters. It's going to be hard for me not to pick Scotty Scheffler. I think I will actually pick Scheffler, but it's a little early for me to pick that. We got a little bit about a month, but that guy he's on fire. So, all right. I'm not going to bore you guys too much. We did discuss quite a bit of the tournament. The first round does take a little bit because there's so much that just happens, and there's so much going on. I did mention I would talk about OU not making the tournament. Look, here's the thing. You want to be in, win your games. OU lost quite a few of the last few games. OU barely, scraped by a very bad OSU team. And I've watched a few of their games this year. Porter Moser has got to figure out ways to actually create plays and create, spacing for his players. It's not iso ball. This is college basketball. You should be able to run a motion and run, screens and figure out a backdoor cut. A play somewhere is going to develop. And I just didn't see that. I really didn't. They won games. They were banged up at the end of the year, sure. But I did not see them winning a whole lot, and I was kind of disappointed in that fact. But they are going to the SEC next year. Maybe he can get some guys out of the portal, which brings me to the NIT. Okay. OU, among a lot of teams, declined the invitation to go to the NIT. Is that good? No, that's bad for the sport. That's really bad. The NIT is a very important tournament still. But here's what people aren't considering. Teams like OU have played a long season. They're banged up. Well, now the transfer portal is about to open up, And you want to be the first come, first serve, or do you want to be the last left on the table, And so I do agree that maybe the decline was better only in that sense. If you can go out there and start recruiting players to come here or recruiting your players that you want to keep here, I think that would be better. That is the only thing I will say about that. I won't go into too much detail. I do have to talk about some NBA basketball, okay? It is very much heating up as far as the playoff race. It is getting awesome. It is about that time of year. I do think that the East is pretty much locked up for the Celtics. But, in the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen. In the East, here's how it reads. The Celtics, the Bucks, the Cavs, the Knicks, the Magic, the Pacers, the Heat, the Sixers, the Bulls, the Hawks. Okay? And the Nets are 3.5 games behind the Hawks. So, remember, 7 through 10 play in a play-in tournament where 7 and 8 only have to win 1 game, and 9 and 10 have to play or win 2 games to get to the playoffs. Just kind of a little interesting fact there. I do want to talk about the West a lot more, as the race over here is just insane, okay? The race for the West for the 1 seed is between, and yes, I'm biased, I am a Thunder fan, the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, okay? The Clippers kind of fell off a little bit, so we don't really have to worry about them. These guys are within a game of each other. They are in the same division. And they're within a game of each other. And yes, I understand the Wolves, they lost Karl Anthony Towns, but they're still winning games. They're still figuring out ways to stay up there. The Thunder have the 1 seed, but very easily could lose it. They're only half game up on Denver. I really like this Thunder team. I really do. But there are certain things that I have seen, like stat grabbing, like purposely going for 30-point games, letting the refs dictate the game instead of just controlling it yourself. There are some things I've seen that are probably going to get them beat in the playoffs. I don't think they're physical enough. They might be. I've been wrong. But I do think there are some things that are going to change. I know. So let me just read off the West standings. You got the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Wolves, the Clippers, the Pelicans, the Kings, the Mavs, Suns, Warriors, and Lakers. That's your 10. I'd hate to be the people who have to play the Warriors or the Lakers. That is tough no matter who you play. They have the experience in the playoffs. All they need is a chance. And, they're right there. I don't want to play the Suns either. The Suns, you got Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal. Like that, if those guys are healthy, good grief. But the West is really, really, really tightening up. I like it. I love this time of year. Playoff basketball is so much fun. It's physical. It's hard. This team is young for the Thunder, and they have a chance. They do have a chance. I will give them that. I don't know if they can win, but they have a chance. So, I would say SGA is probably the MVP right now. Do I think that he is stat grabbing a little bit? Absolutely. I watched it happen the other day, but it is what it is. I don't know. I'm just along for the ride at this point. But yeah. So that's tonight's podcast. I need to get back into this. I know I do. I'm trying. Like I said, I'm on my tablet right now. So if that tells you guys anything, I'm struggling a little bit. Still trying to find my way through life like all of us. And so, I should be able to do something every Monday. I should. I can't promise you that, but I should be able to get on here and at least say something every Monday. Appreciate any of you guys that do listen. I can't say much. I am just kind of here. But you guys have a great day. And I will talk to you later.